Once upon a time, in a beautiful town of Omaba, there lived a man named AJAKA. AJAKA was a wonderful and hardworking man who engaged in female clothing business. He knew the joy of a happy family. His wife Eno had been the heart and joy of their home, and together they had three beautiful children. Their home was filled with love and laughter. Eno was a very young, beautiful woman who loved God so much. She was always in the house of God. She engaged on stockfish business. She had a shop inside the market where she sold stockfish business. Eno was an educative woman, but due to lack of job, she engaged on a business. And since she engaged on stockfish business, she promised herself not to look for white-collar job anymore. Eno always come back from market on time just to make sure she prepared food for her husband and kids. Eno was a very hardworking woman. She was a dedicated Christian. She respects and treats people well. She supports her husband in the family. She traveled almost on a monthly basis to buy goods from neighboring town. Everyone knows her as somebody who believes so much in hard work. AJAKA was so happy the way his wife was dedicated to the family. They lived happily. While this was going on, there was a lady named Dakila who always visits AJAKA in his shop. She pretends to come and buy clothes from AJAKA, only for her to stay till evening without buying a single clothes. She does this on a daily basis. She started coming as a customer, but as time goes on, she started visiting on a regular basis. To the extent, the neighbors of AJAKA began to take notice. Eno, as a business hardworking woman, doesn't have time to visit the husband's shop. She was always busy with her business and children. She believed that she trusts and loves her husband so much. She hardly take care of herself. She believes so much in her business. She find it difficult to rest. She believed that her business was first before any other thing. One day, Eno came back from market. She fell ill. She was taken to the hospital for treatment. And despite all their efforts from doctors and nurses, Eno passed away, leaving her three children in the hands of her husband. Her death was a tragic one. AJAKA's life was shattered. The weight of his loss was massive, but he finds support in his children. They were his word, and he vowed to be both mother and father to them. AJAKA would wake up in the morning. He had to cook and prepare his children for school before going to the shop. It was a very difficult task for him. AJAKA was not finding it easy. One day, he woke up from sleep and remembered his beautiful wife Eno, and he began to cry. He remembered all the support and care from his late wife Eno, and he said to himself, "Am I sure that I'm going to get someone like my late wife Eno again?" And tears streamed down his face. As time went on, AJAKA struggled with the burdens of parenting and maintaining his shop. His loneliness grew heavier, and he found himself seeking companionship. It was during this vulnerable period that he got close to Dakila. He felt that Dakila was a woman who seems to understand his sorrow and offered him the warmth he craved. Dakila became his companion and eventually his lover. Guys, please try to subscribe to my channel as African Tale by Ifenkli. Like and share with family and friends. Turn on your notification button and stay tuned for more interesting story coming. Thanks guys, let's go. However, while this was happening, AJAKA failed to understand that he had little children. He only considered his love for Dakila, forgetting to know if Dakila loved his children. Their relationship blossomed and AJAKA began to entertain thoughts of marrying Dakila. She promised him a future full of hope and renewal, which was a balm to his grieving heart. He imagined a life where the pain of losing Eno would be reduced by Dakila's presence and the possibility of a fresh start. But little did AJAKA knew that Dakila despised his children, which was one of the reasons he wanted to marry her. Dakila had thought of how she would take care of the three children. She thought that it was going to be a burden to her. She said to herself, "How will I be taking care of these three children? I don't think I have such strength. I'm going to meet AJAKA to discuss this with him, if only he's interested to marry me." However, as their relationship deepened, she called AJAKA one fateful evening and made a shocking demand. She said to AJAKA, "AJAKA, my love, I have something to discuss with you." And AJAKA asked her to go on. "If you think that you love me the way you said, you need to eliminate your three children before I will accept you to marry me." And AJAKA was shocked on hearing this from Dakila, and he said to her, "You say that you love me, and how can you say that I should eliminate my children from my late wife, Eno?" said AJAKA. Dakila insisted that before she could marry him, AJAKA must prove his royalty by eliminating what she saw as a barrier to their happiness, his children. Dakila believed that the presence of the children would be a constant reminder of his past and a hindrance to their life together. When AJAKA got home, he thought this evil act so many times. He looked at his children. It was a very big challenge for him. But he said to himself, "Since Dakila would give me children, and I really want to be with her forever." AJAKA began to consider on how he would eliminate his three precious children. He thought of how to carry such acts without knowledge of his neighbors. AJAKA came back from shop one evening and began to carry on his evil acts. He was blinded by his desperation for Dakila's love and prospect of a new beginning. Reluctantly agreed, he was pulled apart by the internal struggle, but the promise of a future with Dakila clouded his judgments. However, one night, AJAKA, in a state of deep internal conflict, made the bad decision to end his children's life. The act was carried out with a heavy heart and a hot soul, and the once lively home fell into a affecting silence. The next day, AJAKA packed their remains and disposed them in nearby bush. It was a very tragic moment. When he got back to his house, he cried deeply, but he kept giving himself hope that Dakila will give her more children that will make him forget his children from his late wife, Eno. Immediately, AJAKA picked his phone to call his love, Dakila, in order to inform her that he had carried on the assignment, but she did not pick her call. He prepared to go and see her at home, but to his greatest surprise, he found Dakila with another man. Dakila coldly rejected him, revealing that she had never truly intended to marry him. The real intention had been to use his distress to her advantage, and she had found suitor who could provide her with a life she desired. AJAKA was crushed by the weight of his action and the betrayal that followed. AJAKA was heartbroken. He thought of taking his own life. He was left in a state of total desolation. He had nothing in the world again. His beloved children, who had been his reason for living, were gone. And the woman he had sacrificed everything for had betrayed him. AJAKA was left with nothing. He was filled with sadness and regrets. His life was filled with unbearable grief. He wandered through the empty halls of his once happy home, haunted by the memory of his children's laughter and the echo of their absence. The choice he made in his desperation had led him to a place of profound sorrow, and the future he had hoped for was nothing but an empty shell. Kat thought of many things and decided to revenge on Dakila. He planned on how to execute his plan, and he said to himself, Dakila, you made me to eliminate my 3 wonderful children, and you have got to tell me that you are not intent to marry me after making me to take away my children's life. One fateful night, AJAKA targeted Dakila. He followed her from where she went to buy something to her house. Fortunately for AJAKA, there was no electric light that moment. He covered his face with marks and stabbed Dakila at the back and ran away. And Dakila shouted and fell down and passed away. In the end, AJAKA revenged for what Dakila did to him by taking Dakila's life. Guys, I hope you learned a lot from this story. Do AJAKA supposed to blame Dakila by taking away his children's life? Guys, AJAKA taking away Dakila's life, was it a good revenge? Let me see your comments on the comment section. Please guys, kindly subscribe to my channel at African Tales by Ifenkili. Like and share with family and friends. Turn on your notification buttons and stay tuned for more interesting and mind-blowing stories coming your way next time. Guys, remain blessed. Bye.